100 endings.
Actually 100 endings.
Actually 100 endings. It is not
wild.
a joke.
That's wild.
Ugh, excuse me.
I haven't even heard anything about the game except for Kodaka's gonna kill himself. I don't even heard of the game.
Here. I'll show you what the game's about.
Why do I have to be surrounded by a bunch of clowns? What is this? The circus? Did you all arrive here in the same tiny car?
That is the main character crashing out in one route.
That's amazing.
It's always this that gets me.
Did you all arrive here in the same tiny car?
it's the intensity of what he says, and also like it's just the fact like you've heard the circus jokes, you've heard the clown jokes all before, but no one really brings up the tiny car. Welcome back, y'all. My name is AJ, and I'm here to yap about Higurashi When They Cried Kai, Chapter 7, Minagoroshi. And wants to joined by my straight man, Griffin. Say hello, Griffin.
I'm becoming hacker man right now.
He is programming and eating, so if he doesn't say anything, that's why. How dare he not dedicate every moment of his life to paying attention to a game he has watched. How many times have you gone through Higurashi at this point?
Counting the read-throughs
With friends?
Like directly on a call, this is my third time through.
Oh, okay.
But like I've also read through other people's playthroughs. Maybe an additional 5 times now.
But still being here like 24/7 for like 3 playthroughs for Higurashi.
Full playthroughs, yeah.
That's nuts, man. I'm surprised I wouldn't blame you like AJ, just do this section without me.
I mean, you're watching through Yumi Neko again, so.
Yeah, but even I'm not with Hazel 100% of the time.
Sure.
So.
Hold on, my wife is calling me. Wait.
Griffin, we can't have any misogyny on this channel.
Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't answer the question. Yes? No, yeah, I got a... Yeah.
When I woke up, the first things I saw were Satoko on the calendar. First one to wake up supposed to be to tear yesterday's date off the calendar. Sometimes we both tear the calendar by mistake, so the dates end up as 2 days ahead. It's 104 days of summer vacation, it's gonna... It usually make me smile, but I felt devastated, so as long as I saw the 22 on the calendar. It's going to happen today. June 22nd. The day I die. The day crabs fries.
おはようございますですわよ、リカ。二人ともおはようです。二人
Hanya's like,
あ
you're
ら
gonna
あ
have
ら
a crab fry?
まだ寝ぼけてるでございますの。
I'm good.
I haven't had
さと
crab.
この他にもこの部屋に住んでいる人
You know,
がい
Rika,
ま
just
すの
just
で
like,
す
yeah, I
よ。
was just
そ
like,
の
fuck
人に
it.
も
I'm just gonna
おは
say
ようを言いま
everything.
したの
No
です。
filter. I'm gonna die today. What do I have to
うん
lose?
朝から怖がらせるのはなしでございますわよ。これでさとこは今晩怖くて僕の手を握ってないと寝られないのです。
Damn, Satoko, I just noticed you're already dressed for school. I feel like Satoko would see Hanya, us 3 of us living together. That'd be a lot of fun. Me, my wife, and my mood killer sister. It's time to go to school, my body help me. Today, I was going to die. Not only that, I didn't feel like going to school.
Me, my wife, and my tulpa?
My tulpa. Is it still a tulpa that's been 100 years?
I don't fucking know.
リカ、
It's a very,
そろそろ学校に行きま
I
すよ。
feel like sister is a good.
今日はお休みしますです。
even though she's been alive much, 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 much longer.
ケイチさんに聞きましたけど、
Older sister.
何か悩み事があるって本当なんですの？あるといえばあるし。
She's gonna get
ないと言え
murdered.
ば
Don't
ない
worry
です。
about it. Don't worry, it's fine. Rika, are you Groundhog Day? No. I'm totally Groundhog Day. Day is the day. It's too late now. Part of me still feels like doing something.
What have you learned how to do? Oh shit, I could have done that. Oh.
What have you done? What have you learned? So moments like this, like when I was thinking, like, well, I probably said a few times last.
I'm not gonna get on the Groundhog Day
Really?
conversation.
No, shut up. Is that Rika is still a child despite living 100 years in many ways? Because she's still,
Well, yeah, true.
it's very sheltered. She's
Yeah.
only lived in this bubble. Even like in other like Groundhog Day scenarios, they're like experiencing more of the world.
Right. That's what I was wondering. Like, why I was wondering, like, is she resetting, like, for at least the first, dozen times she did it, like, majority of the time, did she go back to, like, what do you call it? Like infant?
Imagine going back to the day of your
Like,
birth
like
with your full memories.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like, if she goes back, does she have baby brain at that point? Like, she doesn't develop consciousness yet for a few years.
Ryukishi, why haven't you answered these questions, huh?
I don't know. He's a coward for not putting a Wikipedia.
Because like, a lot of times I'm like, Rika, you could have done this, and that, but I remember, she hasn't really got the chance to develop outside of being 9 years old, and the only adult part of her is someone who is so drained by how much failure she has experienced in the past 100 years, she's learned not to even bother. So, like, I don't blame her. I'm just sometimes like, I know I can't just go, it's so easy to do something. I'm like, hey Jay, you go into a time loop for 100 years of death at the age of 9 and see how you like it. Without love, without effort, not one question can be solved.
リカの好きなように過ごすといいと思いますのです。
なんで？
リカの大好きな窓際で甘いワインを飲むのもリカらしい過ごし方だと思いますのです。
どうせ怒られるなら
最後の一日も気ままに過ごそうという開き直りね。
Funny, it's not about homework, it's more about the vacation itself. Vacation will always be over, no matter how much I want it to continue. In her eyes, it's pathetic for me to make a big deal out of not completing my homework. I'm playing whether I should still work on it or not. We have homework? When did we get time to do that? Die if my vacation's gonna be over. In this situation, I'd be laughing hysterically. Keiichi told me to seek everyone's help in order to finish my homework.
If they don't do schoolwork.
Do we learn anything at school?
No.
Keiichi got help from them.
That one kid, like, I wish I did.
That's right. I know Japanese schools don't really have much of homework in the traditional sense, at least as we Western kids do. Should ask for the help.
Yes, they do. That's like the thing for them.
It's more self-studying than really, like, you have this assignment due by midnight.
I guess so. Maybe.
I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm
さと
wrong.
こ、
I'm sure that
僕
they
は
will.
今日風邪をひいてしまったのでお休みしますです。
Mm.
そうなんですの？体温計でお熱を測ります？今日はゆっくりさせてくださいです。知恵には僕は風邪で休むと伝えてほしいのですよ。リカ、本当に風邪なんですの？なんだか
No.
命を狙われてるような話をしているってケイイチさんが言ってて、私
Wow,
本
why
当
would
に
Keiichi
心配
tell
してま
the
すの
people
よ。
that? Why
あ
would
りがとうです。
why would we
もう
talk
行
to
か
his
ないと
friends about worries?
遅刻しますですよ。
Sadako looked at the clock and looked back at me again. She looked at the clock, now back to me.
私は今すごく幸せですのよ。
Now look
み
back
んな
to
と
me. I'm
楽
on
し
a
く過
horse.
ごせて、またリカと一緒に暮らせるようになってとても嬉しいんですの。だからリカがいなくなったら私がどれだけ悲しい世界に生き続けなくちゃならないかよく考えてほしいでございますのよ。僕のいない世界。ええ、リカのいない世界なんてとても辛くて悲しい世界ですわ。
I never thought about that. I thought the world ended when I died. I never thought about the world after my death. That was never my concern.
だからどうか自分をリカが思ってる以上に大事にしてほしいんですの。リカ一人の不幸じゃない。リカに悲しいことがあれば、私もそしてみんなも
Yeah, we know for
不
a
幸
fact
に
the
なるこ
world
とを
does go on
決
even
して
after her death.
忘れないでくださいますですのよ。さとこ。
I mean,
リカ、
wasn't that this whole thing?
今日はそっとしておきますけど、
It was like,
悩みがあるな
oh
ら
wait,
絶対に相談するんですのよ。仲間が悩んでいるのに
Alright,
you
kind
know
of.
what
を
happens
頼ってくれ
afterwards.
ないことも
I
ま
always
た
forget. I
悲
always.
しいんですから。
It's been we went through so much. I kind of forgot about the cold open. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I know, right?
What she's trying to say. I realize how selfishly I've been living. Look at stage play. But it's too late. It's too late now. Let's go look the house in a hurry. I knew I left alone in the house.
僕もお邪魔でしょうから、リカが呼ぶまで消えていますのです。気が利くのね。100年生きても、リカはリカです。100歳の仙人にはなれないのです。リカには、年相応に悩んで、考える時間があってもいいと思います。僕がリカに、背伸びを敷いたこともあるかもしれませんのです。
羽生は悪くないわ。私が勝手に天狗になってただけよ。
僕とおしゃべりしたいときは呼んでくださいです。
もう泣きつかないの？私がこの世界で終わりにするのを撤回してほしいって。
リカは頑固な人ですから、言えば言うほど逆効果になりますのです。
さすが付き合いが長いだけのことはあるわね。
もうリカも悟っているようですから言います。今日です。悔いのない一日を。リカが何をしてもしなくても、朝が来て夏休みが終わるようにこの世界も終わります。でもリカが望めば次の朝も訪れ
You
る。
know, I'm starting to think all Rika's depression comes from hanging
そ
around
れは
you.
またしても今年の6月かもしれないけれど、朝は朝。
もっと小さい頃、毎日が退屈で、毎朝起きても同じ日が繰り返されてるんじゃないかって思ったことがある。それが本当になるだけのことだしね。
今日を有意義に生きてくださいとだけ言いますのです。これ以上は僕は何も言いませんのです。
多分今日だろうと思っていたけど、あんたにはっきりと言われると答えるわね。やっぱり終わるのね、今回も。
はい、今回も終わりますのです。いつもと同じように。
Honey disappeared and went completely quiet inside the house.
How could you do that?
How should I spend my day? How should I end this day? I'll blow up all of Hinamizawa with me. I have a day left. I have to do my best. I can do more. This world's supposed to be a happy place. People enjoy their lives. I should enjoy my life more too. I don't mean that I should have lived in my life in blind optimism. It means I should enjoy my life by fully experiencing both happiness and sadness. If I did that, I wouldn't have been worried about what to do after my death. Simply live with all my might. When the time comes, it'll be over. Are you gonna say the thing?
生きる。
I wanna live! I wanna live! Because if you just mean this life as many times as his wish. Damn, bitch, you live like this?
You should, yeah.
Well, I have to go to school, I washed the dishes. I would usually stay with me if Satoko wasn't around. But she's not here right now. Hey, Hani, why don't you go find where Takano is? Why don't you ever, like, tail them? Are you stupid? What's happening today? Why should I wash these dishes? It's because I'm thinking about Satoko, who to move on with her life after tomorrow. I will encounter a new Satoko in the next world. I realized something after hearing what Satoko told me earlier. After I'm dead, when else Satoko will move on with her life? The worlds I've left in the past all went on without me. When is Satoko be able to cook without me? Wonder if she can go shopping on her own. Wonder if she can wash her clothes by herself. I avoid thinking about this, but Satoko's and my other friends must have been overcome by sadness. It's too late for me to think about this, but I started feeling like I want to cry. Like the Higurashi. Doing like this because I don't want to leave this world. This is the world I've always wanted. It's my hope that I can continue to live in this world beyond June 1983. After a long journey, I finally ended up in this world. But I was able to truly live in this ideal world only for one night. The night of Watanagashi. The world will be shattered again after I die tonight. We finally saved Satoko and all our friends assumed that our happy life has returned. However, I'm going to die tonight. God, such a Debbie Downer is just dying. It will mourn for me. Worked so hard to make a miracle happen, but they're going to lose a happy world in just one day. And I'm going to start a new life in the next world as nothing happened. I lived 3 days in my new world. And then 3 sad days are going to pass in this world. That's no good. I can't think straight anymore. I couldn't stop the tears from flowing from my eyes. I had Satoko's pillow and cried. I could smell her scent. After I die, Satoko probably hugged my pillow and cried just like this. Is anyone else gonna cry for me too? I'm sure they will. And they'll be sad. Not about my death. They'll be sad not because I'm dead, but because I never told them about what was troubling me so much. I wonder if they're going to feel regret. They will wonder what they could have done to open my heart. What they could have done to help me in my time of trouble. What will they done to save me? I feel miserable and frustrated. I held Satsuko's pillow and continued to cry. Next moment I heard the phone ringing. I tried to ignore it, but it wouldn't stop ringing. I picked up the phone, hoping that my friends would call to check on me. However, I heard a weird guy's voice coming from the receiver.
どうも、お世話になっておりますんで、おこのぎ造園と申しますが、フルデさんのお宅でいらっしゃいますか？
おこのぎ。
It's Okanogi from the Mountain Dogs. It was the first time I received a phone call from him.
緊急のご連絡がしたくってお電話させてもらいました。学校にお電話したら、今日は休んだと言われましたもので。具合は大丈夫ですかいね？
I'm not alright, but this is the day I die. Well, shit. That was supposed to be my speech bubble, but I said it out loud.
風邪なのです。ちょっと今日はゆっくりしていますです。
そうですか。偶然とはいえ、それは好都合だったですね。
え？
I had no idea what made him say that he was glad I was sick.
どうして僕が風邪をひくとおこのぎの好都合になるのですか？
いえ、実はあなたの命が狙われている可能性があるっちゅう連絡が入ってきたんです。
それはどういうことなのですか？
この度の富武氏たちの事件なんですが、東京の調査の結果、入江所長が黒幕である可能性が高いっちゅう連絡が入ってきました。
入江が黒幕？
This is the first time I've heard something like this. This isn't something that happened at random. It's the very first time. You just said that. I mean, it's not just a coincidence. You just said that. It did differently in this world. Ryukishi! Many different in this world, though. Can't tell which decision led me to this result. However, maybe this is something that could change my life drastically. Okanogi continued to explain to me. They had budget cuts to the research and they were scheduled to be shut down within a few years. Idia was strongly against that because he was embezzling their research money by requesting bigger and bigger budgets. Because they were going to cancel their research, he tried to sell the research data and make a lot of money off of it.
それは本当なのですか？
信じたくないでしょうが、事実ですんで。まあ、入江所長はどこか後ろめたそうなところがありましたんよ。すったらんな感じでした。
I think I can say with certainty that Irie is not that type of person. Been around him for years. As far as I know, he's not a bad guy outside of the pedophilia. He doesn't have the guts to be one. But say he's to be cold-hearted for the sake of his research, but can't shake his regrets. He's simply a nice person. I'm starting to believe that he was embezzling money from Tokyo. I'm starting to be suspicious of Takano, but she's actually a nice person too. She seemed mean at times, but she got innocent as a child. However, I'm starting to suspect her because the way she told me the body they found in Gifu might not be Takano's body. Okanogi works for Takano. That means I can't trust Okanogi. In other words, I can't trust Ide because Okanogi is clearly trying to set him up. On the other hand, if Takano isn't guilty, I could be making a huge mistake. Yet, it always seems to me as though Tomitake and Ide were good friends. Tokyo suspected Ide was embezzling money from them. Tomitake would have treated him more coldly. Anyway, at the very least, Tomitake of Tokyo didn't seem to have some bad impression of EDA. The EDA of the EDA institution and the Tomitake of Tokyo were good friends. And the EDA of the EDA, Tomitake of Tokyo and Takano were good friends. Takano of Tokyo and Okanogi of Tokyo were superior and subordinate. I'm gonna bite my fucking tongue saying all this. But Okanogi of Tokyo says that Tokyo is suspicious at EDA. That what am I talking? What am I yapping about? I seem to be good friends of Lance, but the links don't. Oh, a bit like home. Probably Tokyo was suspicious of EDA. This is odd. The chain should be connected, but one of the links is twisted out of order. It's breaking the loop.
すでに東京が内定に着手してますんで、詳しいことはもうちょい待ってほしいそうです。
Think, Rika.
また、
Think.
入江はあなたを何らかの交渉の最後の切り札に使おうとしている可能性があるらしく、あなたに対する警護体制を本日よりさらに強化せよとの命令が来ました。それでご自宅にいられるんは都合がいいと言ったんですね。すでに古出神社の周辺は山犬が3交代、20人体制で警護に入らせていただきました。もちろんご安心ください。それっちゃわからないように気を利かせてますんで。
すごい警護体制なのです。その警護はいつまで続くのですか？
東京から解除の命令が来るまでずーっとですんで、今回の一件が解決するまでです。
That's really good news for me, since today was the day I was supposed to die. Exactly the kind of security I wanted. That's why I let Takano into the ritual storehouse. Unless Takano's planning to kill me all along, then I fucked up. I have a bad feeling about this. Tokyo should be my ally. But now the arrangement's just like Ide's relationship with Tokyo. Everything seems in order from my end. But when you trace it the other way, it feels like something's off at some point. Think, Rika. Think. You're saying about Tokyo.
Brain blast.
Tokyo and Ide have strong ties, but they're suspicious of him. You've gone over this before. Is Ide actually a bad guy? Is Takano still alive? Is she the one who killed Tomitake? Is the sky blue? Is up is down? Is water wet?
Is water wet?
I'm not answering that. It's a single organization without a move interaction. But in reality, they have multiple different intentions. In other words, wouldn't it be multiple... What's the word? It's in political sections of the newspaper all the time. Ah, right. Factions. I really am 9 years old.
Oh, yeah.
One that looks down on him. I'll explain the irregularities I'm sensing. Maybe I've been talking to Oishi too much. If he hadn't told me that he was Sussy Baka of Takano, then I wouldn't believe Okanogi without a doubt. Well, maybe not. Even without Oishi's theory, Okanogi still sounded very Sussy Baka. Ide was loyal to his research on Hinamizawa syndrome. Tokyo understood this, so his relationship with Tomitake wasn't particularly strained. Plus, Ide isn't the type of person who commit embezzlement. He's a law-abiding citizen with a good moral character. Of course he has some ambition as a researcher and as a child diddler, but I'm just not going to talk about that right now. A great number of mountain dogs are going to be guarding me. It's only been one in my previous lives. But, for some reason, I couldn't be happy about it. Rika, I feel like if I die with the mountain dogs, you should be like, okay, they're the ones doing it. Fox with feathers stuck to its face. Stop being a poet for 5 seconds and focus. Try to recall more about Okanogi. Mountain dogs have been protecting me for years. Okanogi provided his skills in many of my other lives. To them, I'm just something of a special existence. If something happens to me, it would be a disaster. A great Hinamizawa disaster. The institutes to keep him under control. The mountain dogs keep me from evildoers. So why would they try to betray me now? I thought about it for a while, but I had no idea. Just know one thing for sure. I can't feel comfortable with the protection of mountain dogs alone. Want someone other than Tokyo protecting me. But I bet such a person wouldn't believe me. Wait, what about Oishi? I've been keeping in touch with Oishi since the other day. Still thinks that mysterious death in Hinamizawa all plotted by the village authorities. If he believes that, he might believe that my life is in danger. For him, I'm a special person with a lot of useful information. Mountain dogs hate the police, though. When I asked them to assassinate Satoko's uncle, they refused because he was being watched by the police. What if you relieved the police regarding me along with the mountain dogs? The way the dogs wouldn't be able to harm me, even though working for an evil faction of Tokyo. Besides that, if my suspicions towards them turn out to be baseless, more protection couldn't hurt. I'm sure that double security will keep me safe.
わかりましたです。
More like
今日はおとなしく
baseless.
していますです。
Okanoga's like, Rika, you haven't answered me in like 5 minutes.
町へ繰り出して、
I
変な
asked
チ
you
ンピラに
one
喧嘩でも
question.
売られると、うちらも苦労します。
And you just sat there in silence.
根に持たれているのです。
では、そういうことです。風、お大事になさってください。
風の診察に診療所に行ってはいけませんですか？
万が一ということがありますね。入江診療所には当分近寄らないでください。妙な注射でも打たれやすと大変ですかいね。
入江はそんなことしないです。
しないとうちらも思いたいですがね。その疑いが解けるまでちょいとしばらく慎重にしてほしいっちゅうこってん、安情ご理解をいただきたいんですわ。
すったらんしゃもないのです。
What? What did audio quality change? Because I'm right behind you. Oh.
おこのぎもいつの間にかすっかり地元言葉になりましたです。
最初は普通の東京なまりだったです。直せと言われれば直せるつもりですがね。地域に溶け込むのが仕事ですから。
As I had the phone, I opened up my phone book and looked for the number of Okonomiya Police Department. Luckily, they can't
Immediately calls
believe.
the police.
I don't think people can tap phones in this universe. I don't know. If they could, things would be very different. I'll leave this perfect world. I don't want to die. I want to live. I want to live. For the first time, I was spending my last day positively without drinking wine until I was passed out drunk.
もしもし、大石です。
I'm gonna fucking
お
die,
待た
dude.
せしてすみませんでしたね。ちょいと今から
美味しい。
岐阜に行ってこようとしてたところでした。どうもあちらさん話が通らないんで、直に襟首を掴んでゆすってやろうと思いましたね。
岐阜、高野の死体のことですか？
ねえ。周りは勝手に納得して高野の死体に間違いないって繰り返すんですが、私はもうどうにも腑に落ちない。それで直接行って見てこようと思います。死体が高野でないと分かれば話は一気に急展開しますからね。
You're stupid. It's not the village authorities. It's someone else.
幸い向こうの柔道部とは交流がありますの
Why
で、
didn't she just tell him?
お隣の県警さんにも味方は大
Sometimes
勢
wonder, like,
ちょいとみっちり
I know he
話し
said
込ん
if
できます
I
よ。
know Okanogi threatened her, well, threatened her, warned her if she told anyone about the Hinamizawa syndrome, Tokyo, a whole thing that they kill. But like, you know what? It's the last day. You trust her, he's the mountain dogs. That's not talking. Although told me that she's part of this whole incident. What does that give some kind of hint? If only I'm still alive. But it really is unfortunate. Oishi is leaving for Gifu. Can't be around to protect me.
大石、実は変な声の電話があったのです。知らない人でしたが、村人だと名乗りましたです。
匿名の電話ですか。続けてください。その電話は何と？
僕を殺そうとしている人たちがいるというのです。早ければ今日にも決行すると言ってますです。
それは本当ですか。なるほど。それはありえない話じゃないな。わかりました。 私はもう出発しなければなりませんので行けませんが、警官を何人か行かせます。駐在にも連絡して、あなたの近辺を警戒するように伝えましょう。今日はご自宅ですよね。風邪か何かですか？家にいて戸締まりをしっかりしてください。すぐに警官を行かせます。
おいさん、どうしたんすか？先方との約束の時間ギリギリですよ。
今ね、フルでリカから電話がありました。匿名の電話があり、彼女の命を誰かが狙っているらしいと警告してきたらしいって言うんです。
フルでリカをですか？どうして？村のマスコットじゃなかったんですか？
連続開始事件絡みで私と接触してたことに対する警告じゃないかと見てます。本当に殺すかどうかは疑わしいが、彼女も年頃の子供です。命を狙われていると聞かされたら穏やかにはいられないでしょう。それにここで信頼を損ねると以後の関係にも支障をきたしますからね。 2、3人でいいです。大至急行かせてください。あと駐在さんにも連絡して、とりあえず彼女を安心させてあげてください。
了解っす。
I wish you couldn't let her die.
私たちも岐阜の分からず宿も閉めようとしたら、すぐに南沢へ行きましょう。ちょいとハードな出張スケジュールになりましたよ。
こんなの楽勝っす。
This is gonna turn into a bloodbath. A massacre. A Minagoroshi, if you would will.
駐在警官が境内に入りました。R 宅へ向かっています。
You mean just a Goroshi?
了解。
No,
引き続き監視
Minagoroshi.
されたし。
R と接触。警官を中に入れました。沖宮署に R から連絡があったようです。自身の身辺警護を依頼したと思われます。
うちらのことは喋ったんかいね。
命を狙われているとの匿名電話があったと言っています。作り話でしょう。またそれとは別に沖宮署から私服警官が数人派遣されるようです。
何年？山犬だけじゃ信用できんって国会ね。
厄介ですね。監視体制にも支障が出ます。
まさか気づいたんじゃねえんかね。そんなわけはないとは思うが、全般に職質に注意しろと伝達。疑われたら意味ないんで暗情警戒しろっちゅう伝えてえな。
了解。本部より全般、古出神社周辺に警察介入の動きあり、職質には特に注意されたし、今夜の決行ですが様子を見た方がよろしいのでは。
連絡はするが三差はやるっちゅう言うだろうな。明朝に R の死亡が発覚して話が進むよう、もうお膳立てが済んどるって話だ。警官に不審と思われとない。もし疑われたらおとなしを引くこっちゃん。
Wish she had called the officers pretty quickly. The officer was in the area, arrived within 10 minutes after I spoke with him. He asked me what kind of phone call I received today. So I had to make up a whole story. So I'll be over to check my call history, but I'm sure Wish won't bother doing anything like that. He thinks I'm worth protecting because I have information about the incidents. We can do that? We have that technology in 1983?
Yeah, the phone company exists.
I'm sorry, I don't know these things. You have to let me relax, so you stay with me until then. She was almost frightened half to death after getting a threatening phone call. There remains 4 public officers in plainclothes arrived at the shrine. The local officer returned to his police box.
状況は聞いています。
Bum 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 bum.
神社周辺に我々が立ちますので、何かあったらすぐに呼んでください。あと、夕方になったら大石刑事がこっちに来ると言っていました。
I learned that Wish would be coming here.
どうかよろしくお願いしますです。
必ず一人がここの下にいますので。すみませんが、そのものにお手洗いだけは貸してもらってもよろしいですか？あと、緊急時用にそのものに合鍵を預からせることはできますか？
どうぞです。おトイレも貸しますです。
I First floor contains emergency supplies for the village. I would know at least one police officer will be there for me. Officers confirm the positions on the map of the shrine. One will be a storage building, and the other two more walk around the shrine property. This is a world where she is certainly reliable. All because he and Keiichi bonded over mahjong. Oh, this world, these things I'm on his side. Sure, I would say it's ethical. One dogs and 4 police officers watching me. Okanogi is a bad guy, then discouraged from acting by the presence of police. One way I'll find out. One way or not. One way or another. Ba ba ba. Ba 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 ba. I should struggle. I should dilemma. I should reflection. I won't even think about my next life. This is what enjoying life is about. This is what living life seriously is about.
Hanyu? いる？
いますのですよ。
どう思う？今回。
確かに僕もこういう展開はあまり見た記憶がありませんのです。
今回はひょっとしてって思うことはやっぱり罪なのかしらね。
僕は期待も失望もしませんです。ただあるがままに訪れる結果を眺めるのみです。
Yanni was still acting like a babysitter. I knew she was gonna say something like that. Fucking stop ruining my vibes. You're the problem. I felt a little disappointed. Nobody Ani refused to be anything but an onlooker. It sounds normal for her to be that way since she's special existence. I was convinced myself to be an onlooker too, since I was a similar being. However, I just can't let go of everything and become a bystander. I can't become like her. I can't stop hoping for a better life for Rika. Hope was betrayed so many times, my heart was crushed countless more. That's why I stopped expecting anything to turn out the way I wanted. So is Hanyu the same way?
羽生も傷つくのが嫌で期待することをやめた。
I lived for 100 years, but I know how frightening it has to be high expectations. Hanyu should also be aware of that, since she lived far longer than me. It's not that Hanyu was a special existence. But except for the fact she's invisible, everything about us is the same. Oh, and the fact that she can time travel. She has the same thoughts and feelings as everyone else, yet it's a special existence. So I just assumed that her mind worked in a different way.
僕はリカに比べて長くを生きすぎましたのです。喜びより悲しみが後に残り、期待すれば裏切られる方が多いことを知りすぎてしまいました。だからもう何が起こっても心を傷つけたいと思わないのです。
だから今回の世界でも期待しないのね、私が。ひょっとするとこの運命から逃れられるかもしれないという期待を。羽生は私がどうせまた失意のうちに殺されると思ってる。
そんなことは思ってないのです。
Yes, it is. Anya looked uncomfortable. She had no doubts I'd be killed again that night. That's what it means to not have Kibo. But she just can't own up to her because she don't want to hurt my feelings.
羽生も聡子と同じなのね。何かの幸運か誰かが助けて奇跡を起こしてくれるまで耐えて待っているだけ。戦うことを恐れているだけよ。それを強さだと勘違いしている。つい最近までは私もそうだったけどね。
Anya looked down and bit her lip. She couldn't deny what I said.
あんたも何度も聞いてるはず。奇跡ってのはみんなで団結しないと起こせない。団結というのはつまり信じること。みんなで信じないと奇跡は起こせないのよ。
So it sounds like I was blaming her for the miracle not happening. Maybe I was too harsh to her. Nah, she's been cramping my vibes too much. I stay quiet, honey, continue to look at the floor shaking. She looked at me and spoke. No sadness, but a little bit of anger in her eyes.
触れることもできず、話すこともできない。見ているしかできない僕も、そのみんなに含まれるのですか？リカに、どんな顛末も見ていることしか許されなかった僕の気持ちがわかるというのですか？
There's a slight severity in the tail end of Honey's speech. Except for me, she can't communicate with anyone in this world. I know. Chasey reminded us that. So do
ご
I.
めん。やめましょう。この流れは喧嘩になるわね。自分が殺されるまでの貴重な時間を。あんたと喧嘩して過ごしたいとは思わないわ。
僕もリカと喧嘩をしたくはないのです。
でもこれだけは言わせて。私とあなたは友人だと思ってる。だから友人の人生が乗るか反るかという時に期待しないとか、あるがままを受け入れるとか言ってほしくなかった。
そのことは謝りますのです。でも期待するかしないかは僕の心の中で好きにさせてくださいなのです。
She can be very stubborn sometimes. Honey seems weak on the outside, but she actually has a very strong moral code, and one she wasn't bent for anything. She apologized to me, but she wasn't being honest. She still wasn't expecting anything good to come from this world. She still thinks I'm going to die pitifully. That's why she refused to believe in miracles. I've been living with her long enough to read her mind. I feel bad for her in a sense. She's been living too long and lost all of her hope, her kibo.
Lost all that kibo.
All that kibo. That's why she needs to go play Danganronpa. So she's still around. She's probably still watching me as she's watching a TV show. The time of my death is slowly approaching. Will I be able to survive this time? It's been a long time since I faced this fear without drinking wine. Maybe that's why I keep on forgetting everything that happens. I get blackout drunk.
Damn. You know the gif of like Drake like pointing at something to do it on a laptop and he's
No,
just
not
like,
Drake.
"Oh, shit." Is it Drake?
It is Drake, but have you ever seen the edit
Okay.
where it says not Drake?
Oh, not Drake.
So you can use it without worrying. Here, look at your DMs. I'm supposed to be referring a notebook.
There you go. Yeah, that.
But yeah, I get what you mean. I'll be happy to read a will. If I die, they'll be devastated. Wonder why I didn't talk to them. That's exactly how I feel when Satoko didn't ask for any help when her uncle was abusing her. I don't know. Let me kill before Satoko becomes home. It's never very clear. The day again, maybe I should stop being blackout drunk. Sorry before murder. Murder after then. Would they kill her along with me? I don't want to let that happen. It's bad enough already to end up killed. Satoko's murder along with me each time, that would be too much to bear. How much have I ignored other people's sadness with the rash idea that the world ends when I die? Thinking about that made me feel more truly ashamed of myself. Get your shit together, Rika! Turn on the TV and try to reduce the signs, but it didn't help at all. Worse, not only did the TV not help with my fears, it felt like it symbolized honey in my eyelids, making me feel even more unpleasant. It's actually lunchtime, nearly 3 p.m. School should be out soon. I'm not there today, so they probably won't do any club activity. Satsuko should be home shortly. Seems like I'm going to survive until she gets home after all. She comes home and asks me who's troubling me. I might end up telling her the truth. If I talk to someone, that person will be deemed away by the mountain dogs. So I never spoke to anyone about it. I didn't want my friends to get in danger. But if Satsuko was also murdered likewise in every world because she was involved with me, then we're doomed to share the same fate. Better to know the truth than be killed without knowing what's going on. That's the right attitude, Rika. But I'm under very strict security right now. I might be able to survive in this world. If that's the case, I shouldn't talk to No! No! Talk to my friends after all. Damn it, Rika! Moments later, heard a surprised yell of Satsuko coming from downstairs. She returned. It sounded like she was scared to see a stranger in our home. I had to tell her the police were here. That would be a tantamount to tell her someone is out to kill me. I don't know how to explain it. I should probably say something before she freaks out. However, my thoughts were centered by the noise of a crowd. Let's go ahead and come home alone.
ただいまでございますのよ。それよりリカ、下のおまわりさんは何なんですの？
Yay,
私
she
服
brought
警官が
everyone.
護衛してるなんてどういうわけ
Rika
よ。
tells
あん
them,
た一体
tells
何をし
them,
でかした
tells
の？
them.
みーちゃん聞くこと違う。一体何があったのリカちゃん。
境内の中にも見慣れない人がいました。あれも私服警官ですか？ただごとじゃないんですけど。
俺たちリカちゃんが何を悩んでるのか知らないが、みんなで励まそうって思ってきたんだ。でもどうやらそんな悠長な事態じゃねえようだな。
Couldn't stop laughing. Upon seeing everyone rush into my house, all asking the same questions. It made me feel as though being depressed all day had just been a waste of time.
リカ、笑ってる場合じゃありませんでしたよ。どういうことなのか説明してくださいまし。どうもこうもないのです。今日は僕が殺される日なのです。はあ？
If everybody knew that I'd been telling people about how I was going to get killed. But they were surprised to hear it from my own mouth.
なあリカちゃん、俺は確かに昨日リカちゃんから聞いた。自分は誰かに殺されるみたいな話をな。でもそれはリカちゃんの冗談みたいなもんだと
That
思っ
was
てた。
not funny, haha.
だがな、もうごまかすのはなしだぜ。話してもらうぜ。
Kichi spoke of a harsh tone so as it made him upset. As my friend, he must be thinking it's unforgivable that I didn't talk to him about it. He wasn't the only one feeling that way, though. Every single one of them was looking at me with worried expressions on their faces.
リカ、私はみんなに助けてもらいましたの。だから私もみんなのために何かの助けをしたいんですのよ。気持ちだけで嬉しいのです。リカが自分で私に言いましたのよ。戦う勇気を持てと。あなたは自分でそう私に言っておきながら実践していないではございませんの。
Teleporting out something I already realized. I know a way to argue back.
リカちゃんは話せば巻き込まれるって言ったんだよね。リカちゃんが話さなくても私たちは巻き込まれる気でいるんだよ。
そうさ、俺たちは仲間で部活のメンバーなんだよ。リカちゃんの危機はメンバー全体の危機さ。かつて聡子が危機だった時もメンバー全体の危機として戦った。それと同じだよ。
命を狙われるとか物騒な話になればますます園崎家の出番だと思いますけれど、それこそ物騒な話に及ぶなら警察より頼もしいですよ。ねえおね。そうだよ、こういうことこそ相談してほしいね。何をトラブったの？リカちゃんを殺すって脅迫するなんてとんでもない野郎だよ。
まあリカちゃんの口の重さを見る限り心当たりがないのか薄いのかのどちらかだな。相手が分かってりゃ楽な話なんだからな。
みんなは鋭いので、僕が何も話さなくても勝手に話が進んでしまうのです。リカ、はぐらかさないでほしいですわよ。ちゃんとお話しなさいませ。一体何があったんですの？これはどういうことなんですの？警察が来るなんてよっぽどのことですのよ。警察には話せて、どうして私たちには話してくれませんの？私たちには話しにくい理由なの？リカに話しにくいようなやましい理由なんてあるわけありませんでしたよ。
落ち着け聡子。リカちゃんはこう見えても御三家の当主なんだぞ。お社様の生まれ変わりなんて呼ばれて年寄り連中に盲信されてるんだ。俺たちの想像のつかないところで何か厄介なことに巻き込まれていたということもあるかもしれない。そういうゴタゴタをこれからこの村で楽しく過ごしていこうっていう俺たちに話したくなかったとか、そういうのじゃないのか？
村とリカちゃまに関わるヤバい話ですか。
となるとお社様を盲信する年寄り連中の絡みとしか思えません。ってことは時期的に考えてお社様のたたり関係か。あれだ、富武さんと高野さんが殺された件絡みじゃないかな。
どうして富武さんたちが殺された事件がリカちゃんに関連してリカちゃんが命を狙われなくちゃならないの？話が突飛すぎるよ。
命が狙われてるって時点で十分話がぶっ飛んでる。俺たちが普段知る以上のしがらみがリカちゃんにあって、それを話せないってことなんだろうな。ビンゴだろ。あまり楽しい話じゃないから、むしろ仲間には話せないってんだろ。
信じられないですわ。本当なんですの、リカ。何か村とか富武さんたちの事件とかそういうのが関係していますの？
I mean, selling with my mouth open. I hadn't answered any of their questions, but the continued to ask them had me eventually had to hit the nail on the head. Blech. More surprising than anything else. But then again, these are, after all, my beloved clubmates. I laughed once more. My issues, my secrets are still devastating to me, but they stopped sounding such like a big deal when everyone talked about them together. Exactly what's going on without me saying a word. In a moment I realized just how powerless I am. I hadn't tipped my hat to them. Everything seemed so foolish now. So I decided to just tell them everything.
話せと言うなら話しますです。でもどうせ信じられませんのです。
信じるさ。リカちゃんが真実を語る限り、俺たちは疑わない。
Everyone's expressions turned great as I vowed to not make like of anything I told them. So I'm going to tell them everything. I want to see if they really will believe me or not.
なら話します。多分私は富武と高野を殺した犯人に狙われています。
ってことはそれって連続開始事件の真犯人ってこと？
それはわかりません。ですがその可能性もあります。意味がわかりづらいですわね。どうして富武さんや高野さんを殺した人がさらにリカも殺さないといけませんの？
When she thinks Takano's the culprit, Okunogen thinks that Irie is the culprit. Either way, it sounds like someone from Tokyo is trying to kill me. Can't really tell Takano or Irie, but I do know that to them, I'm like a trump card. To explain everything, I need to talk to them about the relationship between Hinamizawa, Tokyo, and the Irie clinic. I don't think they'll believe me. It's such a ridiculous story. But who would ever believe it if not my friends?
話せばみんな巻き込まれますです。いいのですか？
いいに決まってるぜ。リカちゃんが巻き込まれた時点ですでに俺たちも巻き込まれているんだからな。
I nodded Keishi's words.
では話しますです。
Going to see how everyone reacts. Going to ascertain what friendship is all about. With a nod of my own, I opened my mouth and began to explain.
Hinamizawaにはある特別な病気があるのです。その病気の名前は仮なのか正式なのか分かりませんですが、Hinamizawa症候群と呼ばれていますです。
Everyone glanced back and forth for each other when I mentioned the term. They never heard of it before. The name Hinamizawa syndrome has actually been around since before the war. It's a general term for the severe homesickness and mental instability that people from Hinamizawa experience when they're outside of the village. People in Hinamizawa refused to leave the village since the era of Onigafuchi. The villagers believed that they cursed by Ushiro-sama if they left, and people who did often came back because of that curse. In general, it used to be thought of only severe homesickness. But during the war, soldiers in Hinamizawa became mentally deranged in faraway places. That happens in war. What was unique about the soldiers in Hinamizawa was the way that they killed their own comrades and committed suicide at the end. One doctor became curious about the case and studied those soldiers. That's when they found out it was actually a disease only found in Hinamizawa. According to this doctor, their strange behavior was not the result of culture. It was a mental disease triggered by external circumstances. A mental disease with external cause is different from psychological illness. It's as well some kind of physical disorder which people become mentally unstable when something triggers it. There are 3 categories of externally caused mental diseases. Traumatically induced, substance abuse, and chemical imbalance induced. Traumatically induced disorders are cases result from damage to the brain, from trauma, affection, and influences the mind. This is the reason personalities can change as a result of head injuries. Substance abuse, as the name suggests, refers to cases where drugs, especially alcohol stimulants, influence the mind. The last category is chemical imbalances. These are cases where some ailment in the patient's body causes abnormal sections of bodily chemicals which influence their brain's functions. This may sound odd, but it's said that people tend to become depressed when they have a cold. We've all experienced the ways in which physical sickness can be buildup of negative emotions. However, when chemical imbalances, this cause is more direct. People's emotions aren't born from our hearts. Everyone should know, logically, that the results are chemicals secreted by the organs in the body as necessary. But when the organs operate in a section those emotional controllers malfunction, it causes them to secrete abnormal amounts. The thyroid gland, for example, secretes hormones that regulate emotions. When that gland is affected, the balance of hormones become unstable. That can cause people to not only have physical sickness, but also mental sickness, such as depression. Funny how the human body works. People don't get mentally ill just because of mental problems. Human beings are made out of meat. We get mentally ill when the meat is defective. The doctor studying Hinamizawa syndrome also came up with a theory. He studies that a pathogen epidemic in Hinamizawa that a host strayed too far away from home affects the chemicals in the brains and causes them to hallucinate. The villagers' belief in Oishiro-sama is certainly related to this endemic disease. People in Onagafuchi village knew about this syndrome. They knew that they couldn't survive outside the village. They also didn't want anyone else to enter the village because they would get infected too. They took this disease as a curse, not a sickness. The most significant symptoms of the disease are antisocial behavior and extreme persecution complex. The eventual suicide caused by defects in lymph nodes are also another unique characteristic. The usual behavior of terminal patients is what inspired the legend demons coming out of the swamp and attacking the villagers. Basically, sick villagers developed severe persecution complexes and wound up killing other villagers. After a long time, survivors of the disease started to comprehend its rules. They discovered the disease is incurable once you can't track it. That's why they started barring outsiders from entering the village. Also, once you become ill, you'll begin developing a persecution complex. This can happen to anyone in the village. The doctrine Oishiro-sama says that the blood of humans and demons was mixed together, and that Oishiro-sama has control of the violent blood of the demons. People said that you'd be cursed if you didn't follow Oishiro-sama's rules. This will be understood to mean that as long as you follow Oishiro-sama's rules, you can cope with the endemic disease. This is what we meant by the scripture in Oishiro-sama's legend, that they appeared, unified the humans and demons, and made them live together in this village. Then there was the most important part. The rules to prevent symptoms from appearing. Those rules are taboos, and people are strictly taught that Oishiro-sama will curse them if they broke those rules. The horrible bloody traditions of the village are probably performed in order to force people to respect these taboos. There are several ways to keep the disease under control, but there are two main conditions for doing so. The first one is to prevent suspicion. When the villagers are suspicious of someone, it can trigger their persecution complex, which will lead them to developing terminal symptoms. That's why they made sure to have such a tightly knit community so people won't suspect each other. Since the terror Oishiro-sama's curse is emphasized, many don't know this, but she's also a god of marriage and neighborly love. However, this condition is not as important as the other one. Indeed, Oishiro-sama isn't even recognized as a god of friendship in Hinamizawa anymore, and starting worship is Kinomiya's Hirasaka district. Now for the other condition. This one is much clearer, as practiced more strictly. If the villagers leave Hinamizawa, they will fall ill quickly, proportional to the distance from the village. Villagers nowadays will not get as sick as rapidly, even if they leave town or even go out of the country for a long time. However, long ago they will fall ill as soon as they left the village. It's very unfortunate that Keiichi got infected so soon after he moved to the village. It was also very unfortunate that he got sick just because he left the village for a few days to go to his relative's funeral. Oh! 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 Oh my god! Oh! Griffin! He's muted right now. Hopefully he can hear me because, oh! He left because he was sick. Okay. I never even... Right, because he only went to the funeral in that world as far as we've seen. He's never left... Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my Oishiro-sama. So bad for him that time. He kept apologizing over and over. Although no matter how much he apologized, he never heard her voice. This turned into a long discussion, but those rules etched out Oishiro-sama's curse represent the ancient wisdom how to cope with Hinamizawa syndrome. Is there any way to use this mental disease for military purposes? The aforementioned doctor insisted there was, but the military doesn't listen. Let's make a bio. Jesus Christ. Let's make a weapon that can make a dramatic change to the war efforts, but then money to separate for research of this strange disease. Holy shit. Let's go fucking spread the disease in the world. Research Hinamizawa syndrome was abandoned. Then the war ended. Japan started its reconstruction of American leadership. The American way of thinking. Sumner was fired by the GHQ, but he stayed as advisors to the government since Japan has a culture of respecting the elderly. Eventually, a political organization was formed, the object which was to restore Japan as it was to before the war. In the beginning, this organization was a very small group. It was just a gathering of 2 or 3 individuals who shared the same idea as blowing hot air in a restaurant. Those 2 or 3 hit it off with each other and grew to the size of a class reunion. Right, yeah. Curious example. That group became a rather sizable organization, eventually becoming a political one. Well, it would be more accurate to call them a secret society. This secret society eventually came to be called by the name of the place where it's based. Tokyo. Oh, okay, that's why they keep saying it like that. There are many mysteries about Tokyo. One thing I know for sure is that comprised of old men from Japan's political stage, ones with power to indirectly influence the government and vast assets. I mean, they could work from the shadows. They were also connected to various corporations, and their goal was to return to Japan as it was before the war. Ugh. Of course, that was a pretty ridiculous goal. It was nothing more than an idea in their minds immediately after war, back when they were still blowing their heads to the occupational forces with white barbarians. Those white demons. Once Japan's post-war reconstruction began, Tokyo steadily became a shell of its former self. But it didn't totally become a shell. It culled the fat. Japan regained its peace. And years passed. However, some people still continue to believe that Japan had been better before the war, and that they were determined to return to the country to those times. So I meant like 40 years. So this, Tokyo, plotted how to restore pre-war Japan from many angles. They approached the problem economically, internationally, and militarily as well. Japan has no nuclear armaments due to the 3 non-nuclear principles. In other words, this country has to be brown-nosed to Americans as long as they can hold nuclear weapons. Number 1 priority is Tokyo to be independent from America! They want this country to be on equal footing, too. And to obtain a weapon of mass destruction that is in nuclear nature. Ah, so this is where the Hinamizawa disease come in. Pretty sure this breaks the Geneva Conventions. I'm not sure if there's a specific guideline about this. Openly. To use it military purposes have to hide the existence of the disease itself. So they enlisted one young researcher, Kurusuke Irie. They make it clear that Irie is some far-right supporter of the secret society. Okay, thank you. Just a young capable doctor and earnest researcher. He published an innovative thesis, but other academics thought he was too radical. However, that convinced Tokyo that he was the only researcher suitable to study Hinamizawa syndrome. Please get a jacket that fits you, Irie. Someone young and ambitious. Irie was thrilled to take on the project of studying this rare disease with a large budget, a large staff, and his own faculty, or facility. But researching disease would mean that he ended up infected too. No one wanted to take such a risk on such a dangerous research. He really was too young. With his other option being wearing down his youth working hard night shift for local practice, he wanted to answer the expectations of the sponsor who carefully selected him. In the end, he was able to uncover, as hypothesized, Hinamizawa syndrome was a unique infectious disease and developed both treatment and a vaccine. Irie was extremely talented. The Irie Institute was formed to study the disease. Irie was nominally the head of the organization, but Tokyo still sent out a supervisor, because when all said was done, he was just a researcher. Supervisor was Mio Takuno. Takuno's job at the Institute was to act as a go-between for Tokyo and Irie, manage the research progress, and preserve its secrecy. Lyra was the most important part of her job. She had to do her best to prevent people finding out that Irie was researching disease, or even that the disease exists at all. The Mountain Dogs were formed for that purpose. They were under Takuno's command, and their jobs prevent the Institute's secrets from being discovered. The Mountain Dogs are one special forces unit specializing in unconventional warfare and owned by Tokyo with its vast influence on the SDF. Tokyo Terrorists had elected a small elite squad of covert operatives with trump cards in the anti-nuclear era. They vigorously investigated those options. This is a worldwide trend. Since the Cold War, everyone avoided sending troops directly to the enemy's doorsteps. Japan is also trying to be part of that world. As a result, by 1983, even the police had been forming secret special forces unit. The Cold War hasn't ended yet. Right now, it won't end for a few more years. Picture Police Squad 2 will be rendered laid siege to a school, change their name to Zero Company, give their anti-terrorism squad. Oh, okay. I connected to that. The National Police Agency Squad 6 was formed as the counter-terrorism squad for Narita Airport 2, and they will change their name to the 7th Company as well. They theorize that the world where nations possess nukes, they can use small elite special forces to disrupt metropolitan areas with a way of waging war. So in 1977, they developed the stat spirit of SMP to serve National Police's Trump Guard under the period of peace. Likewise, the Japan Coast Guard established a task force, the SST, and unconventional warfare on the coast. This is Ryukishi. I get it. You really like Japan history. When you hear the phrase special forces, most people think of a movie or a comic book. However, these units actually exist and are protecting Japan in secret. During the famous incident of suspicious boats off the coast of Noto Peninsula, the news reported the helicopter squad trained in gun battles were headed there, but they recalled the suspicious boats sank. That's because the Coast Guard SST acted. However, the news never mentioned the SST or any other special forces unit. It's all true. All those units were established after Tokyo made a suggestion about it to the government. Researching military tactics in the name of peace and order worked perfectly for Tokyo. But since the mid-century anti-war movement made people resent those forces, these special units have been kept secret as 1983. I can see why Siconia is about war now. Furthermore, these units are now formed in the jurisdiction of the police. There are still many other military units that keep secret from the average citizen. The Mountain Dogs are actually one of those special units. They specialize in kidnapping, espionage, and preserving secrecy. We'll call them an assassination unit. I sure hope you're telling Keiichi and the gang all this. They found during the dam conflict as well. Tokyo worked to put an end to the dam project because of the impact it would have on the EDA's research. The Mountain Dogs were the ones who kidnapped the Minister of Construction's grandson. Oh! Yeah, it was the same van now I think about it. Most people believe the Sonozaki family is the center of the movement, but in reality the Mountain Dogs are responsible for many things the Sonozakis were accused of. Lamau. In that sense, the existence of the Sonozaki family was an advantage of the dogs. Their main job after the dam conflict ended has been continuing keeping disease hidden from the public. With the spread of information networks in the modern age, the media jumped onto the usual incident and quickly aired it to the whole nation. Tokyo doesn't want the disease to be known nationwide since they're trying to utilize it for their own purposes. The main task of the Mountain Dogs is to kidnap people suffering from Hinamizawa syndrome. They possess posed as gardeners, but actually they patrol the village to make sure nothing strange happens. They're the ones who demon away people who go missing. They're probably also involved in some mysterious deaths, too. The last important person is Jiro Tomatake. I don't know his real name. He was an auditor who was sent from Tokyo 4 times a year. He came to check on the progress of research and outline requests from Tokyo. He discussed the research budget with EDA, too. He also got an observation report from EDA from Takano. That was his purpose. EDA started out by studying the autopsy results of dead villagers, and he discovered many answers from that. In 1979, the Mountain Dog kidnapped the culprit behind the murder of the construction chief, the one who was a terminal patient of Hinamizawa syndrome. The nature of the disease was dramatically clarified. The research made rapid progress after that, and they discovered a vaccine, medication, and other methods of treatment for the disease. At the same time, they continued to investigate how to utilize this for military purposes. One of the interesting findings of research was that the pathogen can only be found when the patient is still alive. On top of that, they couldn't detect the presence of the pathogen at all unless they induced a certain inhumane method, whereas it's virtually impossible to detect the pathogen by normal means. What was left for the unusual symptoms produced seemed like voluntary behavior, so they concluded the disease could be used for their advantage. However, Tokyo's been going through some changes. It's been almost 50 years since the war ended. The leaders in the shadows behind Japan's government who ruled from the center of Tokyo began growing infirm and opening up seats, steadily passing their leadership to the new generation. The whole organization started to shift. Of course, the purpose of Tokyo stayed the same. Still a secret society of ultra-nationalists who want Japan to be at the top of the world. However, the ambition to start a war for America and take over the world has diminished. Tokyo has directed its priorities towards the economy, international affairs, and education. That doesn't mean that these ambitions are gone entirely, however. Several seniors still alive retain those ambitions. Tokyo continues to finance military research, but for the present-day Tokyo, EDA's research is actually something of an embarrassment. The new Tokyo is no longer interested in his project, and they announced that they're going to cut their budget as soon as those seniors passed away. However, EDA objected to that plan. He strongly appealed for the continuation of his research. This is what Okanogi was talking about. EDA is in disagreement with Tokyo. EDA's research has been making great progress. They discovered various treatments and testing methods, and he's starting to develop a treatment plan for the whole village. If they cut his funding, EDA's research would end without any results. Tokyo had been discussed with EDA through Tomitake, and they decided to shut down his research partially, but not fully. However, they told him to immediately stop researching military application disease and store all research data related to that. He had little interest in weaponizing disease anyway, so EDA accepted those terms right away. They both believe it's better to let him find a cure for disease and to terminate the project entirely. At this point, EDA considered himself one of the villagers. Perhaps extermination of the disease affecting the villagers without their knowledge is ways of atoning for using the villagers to advance his research and reputation. Both Tokyo and EDA agreed to fully terminate his research as soon as they discovered a way to completely eradicate Hinamizawa syndrome. He made a plan for the next 3 years and promised that he would find a resolution by 1986 at the latest, meaning they had this June was to discuss the plan and budget for those next 3 years. Which brings us back to the beginning. One theory goes that EDA is in opposition to Tokyo, and his trump card he's planning to kill Rika. The other theory is that Takano killed Tomitake, and as a trump card, she's going to kill Rika. I suppose I need to explain why Rika can be a trump card. The answer to that lies in the ancient traditions, said Hinamizawa. Fellow members of the family has the blood of Oishiro-sama in their veins. I explained that earlier that Oishiro-sama was made up of a method for having people cope with the disease. However, that's actually not true. For the demons, the pathogens to survive certain must be present. That being is the success of the Furuta family line. The truth behind the advent of Oishiro-sama and the coexistence of humans and demons is that Oishiro-sama is actually the queen of the village. According to Ide's research, Rika is adored by the whole village not because she is a charming little girl, but because she's the queen's carrier. Infected patients are unconsciously driven to protect their queen. Ide says this is done with her pheromones. Rika Furuta's mother was also adored by everyone since she was little. However, as soon as she gave birth, people's attention quickly shifted to Rika. Ide calls it a succession of the throne. The queen is a precious existence to people in this village. There are Syrians that carry this disease are actually unable to survive away from the queen. Not from the village itself. Ide's research indicates the queen can only survive in Hinamizawa. And infected patients can only stay alive when they're around her. But this is just a theory. Surprisingly, however, the doctor who first discovered the syndrome was also aware of the existence of the queen. That doctor was also knowledgeable of Hinamizawa's culture, and he was interested in how much value the village placed on the Furuta family. He theorized the queen line of the Furuta bloodline might have the power to manipulate the whole village. Truth is still unknown. Perhaps the Furuta family really held such ancient power since ancient times. Miraculous power, though, make them perfect for serving the priesthood. Although the one thing Rika could do dote upon the village. If all this is true, then the question is what would happen if the queen disappeared from the village? During the war, a doctor prophesied the queen were to die, and all the infected would show terminal symptoms. And the whole village would be wiped out. He advocated for a strict preservation of the queen's host, and the last breathing for Furuta. Rika is important to Tokyo not because Ide found many answers after running tests on her body. If Rika dies, 2,000 people in Hinamizawa will turn into demons. It will happen too fast for people to even realize they're getting sick. They will each be overcome with violent persecution conflicts and start killing each other out of fear. As White Mountain Dogs are protecting the queen, Rika, her death spells the end of the whole village. That's why Rika is the trump card for those that knows the center of the whole epidemic. This is the story of Hinamizawa. Our tale begins in June 1983. Tokyo's liaison Tomitake was found dead of the disease, even though he was vaccinated against it. On the same night, Takano was also kidnapped and murdered. So I don't know for sure if she's really dead or not. She's not. Rika is going to be murdered soon enough.
I'm back.
Hey, Griffin, you've missed a lot!
I did. The cat is filled, though.
The cat is filled. Well, you just the line a few seconds ago of this is destroyed Hinamizawa.
Whoa.
Hinamizawa disease. Rika's the queen. It's pathogens.
Yeah.
Keiichi
got disease. Hinamizawa syndrome.
Keiichi got sick in chapter 1 because he left Hinamizawa for a few days.
Yes.
And what else? What else? The mountain dogs are most likely behind all the murders in Demons Ways.
Okay. Yeah. Possibly. What?
If Satoshi's alive, the mountain dogs would know where he is. They were gonna make it a biological weapon, but then they stopped. But that was the thing that Irie was a scientist researching for the years. Tokyo was not just talking about the actual city of Tokyo, but a secret government society of people who want to bring Japan back to the top of the world, but they don't want to wage war with America anymore. For Rika, if she dies, the entire village dies. You just missed.
Hey.
I've been reading exposition dump for the past like 20 plus minutes.
All out did medicine run the cat.
The cure of Hinamizawa syndrome?
Yeah.
Hey Griffin, guess who was fucking right about so many things? That's right. Me.
AJ.
Yeah.
There's still another chapter. There's still a whole another chapter.
We're not thinking about that right now.
Okay.
Takano was found third down in Tokyo. I always thought they were on my side. Maybe that was my first mistake. They had to be. My death would lead to nothing but disaster. Why would they want disaster? Why would the government ever want mass disaster? Oh, wait a minute. I never considered that there was opposing factions within Tokyo. I guess I was naive enough to not realize Tokyo had internal problems due to a generation gap. Anyway, I'd be feeling this way if I didn't suspect that Takano might still be alive. I sure hope she is explaining all this to Keiichi and the gang instead of just saying it in her fucking head. Also, that Takano's the victim and Ie's the bad guy. You know, I kind of wish they didn't show that Takano was the bad guy. It'd be... Yeah, I don't know.
What do you mean?
Well, they showed exactly what happened. Like, Takano's alive. She drugged Tomitake and went and faked her death.
Yeah.
And the diamond dogs. Dude, after telling everything to my friends, I finally realized I can only trust them and the police. Maybe not the police. I'm really dumb. I thought I was thinking so hard, but I never actually understood anything. After all this time making things up by just talking with them with my friends. Oh my god, can you please return to the voice acting? I have yapped so much in the past 30 minutes. Hey, you know what? The parasites were kind of right when you think about it.
僕の話はこれで終わりなのです。
I thought everyone was staring at me with their mouths open in shock. Even Oishi wouldn't believe a story like this. I mean, did you see what he believed last chapter, Rika? I think he might believe it. So normal. I'm sure I sound like a crazy person.
さとこ、僕たちが毎週診療所に研究のお手伝いに行っていますですよね。あれは入江の研究に協力しているだけではないのです。さとこの治療のためでもあったのです。
そうだ。そういえば、さとこが病気みたいなことを言ってたよな。
私がリカの話なら私だけじゃなく、この村に住むみんながその怪しげな病気にかかってることになるんじゃありませんの？
Wait, did she mention the whole time looping thing?
She has not explained how the time loop. She only mentioned the Hinamizawa syndrome stuff, like the science facts of the situation happening. It's like, by the way, guys, I'm time looping. It's like, maybe that's a little bit too much information at once.
The fuck?
Environment coach as well.
里子は一度末期症状を迎えてしまっているのです。だから日に2回のお注射がないとすぐに症状がぶり返してしまうのです。入江は里子を救おうと特に熱心に研究してくれていました。でも毎日2回の注射をしなくてもいい体にはどうしても戻す方法が見つけられなかった。
Elden Ring, Bring Me to Life?
Bring Me to Life trailer.
I can't play that. I can't play that. I would get if I play Evanescence right here. I would be shot 5 ways to Sunday.
Oh really? Are they awful about?
I'm not sure, but like that's such a popular song. I'm not gonna take that risk, you know.
Such a popular song. It was a popular song.
It still is. I feel like everyone knows Bring Me to Life, even in the modern day. The mid-2000s have not died, Griffin. They're always gonna live. They're always gonna live inside my heart.
Coming from the person who actually grew up in the mid-2000s.
I grew up in the mid-2000s too!
Why is it not playing the video?
いつか見つけると意気込んで
Yeah, no, fucking just drop an Evanescence trailer and for Elden Ring. Okay.
貧乏だから監督の怪しげな研究に協力してお金を恵んでもらってるんじゃありませんの？あんな注射一生やれなんて冗談っぽいでございましてよ。
Sailika said she'd been completely ignorant to all this, but she also didn't want to accept reality of having to manage her condition. Fake laughter sadly echoed in everyone's ears. Keiichi opened his mouth to speak.
その注射を1回でもしないとあの日みたいになるんだな。
There was a day when she forgot to take her shot. She convinced herself that the principal was her uncle. Her fear escalated and she thought her uncle came inside the school to take her back home. When she feels that way, there's no turning back for her.
そうです。
You know, let's use Keiichi Patch as a speech check.
僕は里子がお注射を忘れないように毎日しつこく言っているのです。そんな信じられませんわ。大体何なんですの末期症状って。私だけそんなの嫌ですわよ。どうして私がいつそんな末期症状になったって言うんですの？
Satiko's face contorted as tears began to flow from her eyes. Was it last year? I shouldn't have said this. Satiko's starting to remember something she's not supposed to.
ごめん、里子。思い出さなくていいのです。あれは事故なのです。里子は何も悪くないのですよ。
Did she kill her aunt? Was I right?
嘘ですわ。リカは全部嘘ばっかりなんですわ。
You guys probably had no idea what Satoko was talking about. They don't need to know. They don't want to know about it because they're her friends. Rena gently touched Satoko's shoulder. She gently touched mine too.
私たちはリカちゃんの話ちゃんと信じてるよ。ありがとうです。そして今まで自分一人でよくそれだけの大変なことを背負ってきたね。リカちゃんは偉いよ。たった一人で今日まで人に言えない秘密を背負ってきたんだね。
Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, I'm totally convinced Satoko killed her aunt and Satoshi had to, took care of it. That's why he disappeared.
Okay.
Like, in terminal cases is that you're ready to, like, maul someone, so Satoko got to that point after everything last year. There's no way she just didn't kill her own aunt, and then Satoshi was like, I have to take care of this for you. Which is why that's why he had everything organized before he left. If he's still alive. Hope he is.
The bear.
The bear. Made sure to remember something. Did we ever mention if Satoko owns that bear? Did we ever mention if Satoko owns that bear?
What about? No, she does not.
She does not. No, because we're in our house right now. We would have seen it or talked about it.
The bear is missing from the shop.
eyes are filling with tears.
And Sadako never
人に
got it.
話せない秘
He's
密を背負うっ
inside
て
the
のは
bear!
悲しくて重い
Where's
よ
the bear?
私のはリカちゃんに比べたら
He's actually been a
全然
toy
大
in
し
the
たこ
toy
とない
shop
け
this
どさ
entire time. No one just noticed. He's just like dressed up as Pinocchio. He just stays there crying. Like,
Oh, I know. He dressed him up in a lion outfit.
maybe he's Freddy Fazbear.
Where is it?
少しはわかるつもりだよ。
そうですね。お姉もよく頑張ってます。お姉になすりつけて楽させてもらってるからよくわかりますよ。
みんなは
Oh,
僕
here
の
he is.
話を疑わないのですか？
どうして疑うんだよ。全部信じるって言ったじゃねえか。むしろ村の秘密が解けたような気がして俺はすっきりしたくらいだぜ。そのHinamizawa症候群という病気
Yeah,
の
I'm not even gonna think about that right now.
村に住んでる人
I'm
は
not even gonna think about that right now.
はい。
I'm gonna put that,
みんな
picking
の
that up. I'm putting that to the side. I'm not even showing on screen.
昔とは違います。鬼が淵村の頃に比べるとこの病気はとてもおとなしくなりましたです。だから別に遠くへ引っ越しても平気ですし、旅行だってへっちゃらなのです。
ただしものすごく低い確率で発症するってんだろ。俺怖くてもう村を出られねえな。
I'm glad
もし
Okonomiya
病気に
counts.
かかっても簡単な心構えで病気は抑え
Imagine
られるの
Okonomiya
です。
didn't count.
それはとても簡単だけど難しいこと。
If you think about what might be suspicious of someone, don't be. Continue to trust in them. When you become too suspicious of someone, that suspicion will then degenerate into a prosecution complex, and it'll be too late. As long as everyone stays friendly and united, we'll never have to worry about this disease. The disease starts with anxiety. Modern people don't believe in curses the way people long ago did. That might be why we're more tolerant to the disease.
なんだ。なら私たちは全然平気だね。
だな。俺たちは仲間で部活メンバーで家族なんだぞ。間違っても仲間を疑ったりするもんか。だからリカちゃんの話俺は丸ごと信じるぞ。そんなヤバい話をすれば俺たちがその山犬って連中に消されるかもしれ
Yeah,
ないっ
let's
て思っ
hopefully
て
they don't have like
ずっと言え
one
な
of
かった
those
わけだ
things
ろ。
that allow you to hear long distance and are currently listening to this conversation right now. I don't want to think the mountain dogs bugged this room, but if Okinoge overhears this conversation, they'll definitely not kill only me, but all my friends tonight. Hey, what? We died together. That's true no matter who my enemy is.
ま、だとするとすぐに部活メンバーは臨戦態勢に入った方が良さそうだね。
Everyone that made you little
状況を整理しよう。
AMVs have grown up and now
リ
they're
カちゃ
working
ん
in
を
the
殺すと
industry.
大惨事になると信じてる連中がリカちゃんの命を狙う可能性がある。間違いないね。
可能性でなく必ず殺しに来ますです。どうかな。リカちゃんが切り札ならそんな簡単に切っちゃう？そうでございますわよ。切り札は殿下の宝刀。向かないうちが花ですもの。
Sadico's eyes were still swollen, but she had stopped crying.
甘いですね、さとこ。切り札は2枚以上あるときに限りすぐ1枚切ります。そうだね。人質は複数で初めて成立する。一人の人質の価値は複数の時に比べて格段に落ちるからね。
とにかく向こうの状況がさっぱりわからねえ以上
Yeah, I mean, I
殺
like
され
being
ないなんて
optimistic.
楽観はありえねえな。
We're not as innocent.
みーちゃんは山犬って人たちをどう思う？敵かな？味方かな？
それは問題じゃないだろうね。僕は善良な狼ですって人に羊の番を頼むかい？
疑わしきは黒でございましたよ。その東京とかいう連中と全く関わりのない人たちに助けを求めた方がいいですわね。
We could go to to some
だな。
Sakis. They're like the most
そ
powerful
の意味では
outside of
リカ
police,
ちゃん
the
が
most.
即警察に応援を求めたのは迅速ないい判断ってことに
I'm
な
not
る。
sure if
大
Oya
石さん
knows
は
anything about
俺たちの味方
Hinamizawa
なんだよ
syndrome,
な。
but if I feel like he would tell the Emperor, hey, we all have the disease, the government's trying to
大
take
石に
over,
は全てを話してはいませんので、
they would start a war.
僕の命を狙っているのを連続開始事件の犯人、つまり村人の誰かだと信じてるようです。大石さんにも真実を話した方がいいと思う
Oh
な。
man, but it took me
大
like
人の力は重要だよ。
30 minutes to explain all this. I have to do it
リスク
again.
の
My
ある一手
throat
ですよ
already
ね。
hurts.
かえって嘘くさくなって手を引かれるとまずいんではありませんの？
いや、大石さんには話そう。あの人、今年が定年で、昔殺された友達の仇を討つ最後のチャンスだって言ってた。だからきっと、どんな嘘くさい話でも信じてくれると思うんだ。
うん。大石さんは聡子ちゃんを助ける時にも警察の立場でありながら私たちに協力してくれた頼もしい味方になってくれると思うな。
よし、大石には話そう。で、大石は今はしょ？
いえ、岐阜に行っています。高野の死体を確かめに。
ああ、岐阜の山の中でしたっけ？ドラム缶の中で黒焦げって話。でもなんでわざわざ大石ともあろう人が直々なんでしょうね。
高野の死体が違う可能性があるらしいのです。岐阜が協力的じゃなくてあやふやなことを言ってるらしいです。
その山犬って連中は機密保持と情報操作が仕事じゃなかったっけ？私はなんだかその死体おかしいなって思うね。というかあの人おとなしく焼いたくらいで死ぬとは思えないんだよね。
もちろん入江が黒幕で高野を殺した可能性もありますです。山犬のおこのぎはそうだと言っていますです。
監督が黒幕ってことはねえだろう。あの人は悪い人じゃねえと思うんだ。
そうですわよ。
Takano,
ネッ
however,
ト、リト
she is
と
that kind
発
of
言禁
person.
止にしてくれれば基本的にはいい人でございますのよ。
私もひなみざわファイターズの幽霊マネージャーとして監督は黒幕なんて玉じゃないと思います。どっちかというと利用される感じの人です。いい人すぎるというか。
はあ、誰も高野さんの肩を持ってあげない。
いやさ、監督と高野さん、どっちが悪い人ですかって聞かれたら、
Well, we're just saying, you know, if you look at Takano, she's not
高
exactly
野
the
さんが聞
most
いたら怒りますよね。
well-adjusted human being I've ever met in my life. That's all I'm saying. Everyone laughed as though we're in the middle of a club activity. If they're after my life, they'll kill everyone here. It's very possible they'll all get involved in this mess, and they know that. That they could still laugh is really significant, I think. They started laughing along, too.
客観的に見て高野さんだけ岐阜で死体が見つかるのがすでにおかしいよ。富武さんを殺した風に偽装するなら死体は絶対に見つからないところに隠す。山中で野焼きなんて見つけてくださいって言ってるようなもんだもん。
I should know, I'm an expert at hiding bodies.
レナもそう思うな。警察の管轄の及ばない県外で見つかった身元の確認しにくい焼死体を高野さんということにしようとしている気がする。その山犬って人たちはそういうのが本職なんでしょ？
なら構図が見えてきたぞ。山犬ってのは高野さんの部下なんだろ。山犬の隊長は監督が黒幕なんだって主張してるんだろ。高野さんと山犬ってのはグルだな。
富武さんのあの死に方は監督が殺したと思わせるためなんですわね。そしてそれがわかるのは東京だけ。そして本当の黒幕の高野さんの死体も見つかり、監督は東京に2人を殺したことを疑われて濡れ衣を着せられる。なるほど、これはなかなか凝った罠でございますわね。詰めがいまいちでございますけど。
その濡れ衣ってのにも山犬って連中が関わってそうだね。
Griffin.
Yeah.
Oh, is your voice okay?
Yeah.
You just sound very rough there. Is it because Keiichi went to the clinic in chapter 1 that EDA and the Mountain Dogs were able to identify that his Hinamizawa syndrome was getting worse, and that's why they had to keep a look after him?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
なあ、そうと分かったら監督に直接話を聞いてみないか。その方が早いぞ。
Cause outside, like by the time the car tries to hit him, like he's acting a bit like
監督が真
sus,
実を
but like
話してくれるか。
not like
嘘を
too
つくか。
much if you're just like an
私
outsider.
目を見ればわかるから。
I think you already had the bat by that time, but still.
レナさん、嘘に敏感ですよね。
He skipped school, but he went to the clinic that
山
same
犬
day.
が監視していると言ってましたです。電話しても出られないか話せないかかもしれませんです。
なんだなんだ。聞けば聞くほど監督は濡れ衣臭いぞ。というか監督の身に危険が迫ってるんじゃないの
Rika,
か。
have you really not pieced together that the mountain dogs are behind this? And he's like, you know, when you say it out
私が
loud,
山犬で監督に濡れ衣を着せようと思ったなら、余計なことを言われる前にご退場願うね。
死体に口なしだね。どうしよう。大石は岐阜の話が終わったらすぐに戻ってくると言ってましたです。だから時間はわかりませんが今日必ず来てくれますのです。
well, when everyone glanced at the clock, it's already past 6:30 p.m. It's starting to get dark.
なんだか腹が減ってきたと思ったらこんな時間なんだな。
I usually call it here a normal day, but everyone decided to stay until Oishi came back and discuss what to do.
ごめんねリカちゃん。電話借りてもいい？お父さんに帰りが遅くなるのを電話しないと。
そうだな。俺もお袋に電話しないとな。
あ、私もばっちゃんに今夜は出前でよろしくって電話しないとな。こんな時間に抜け抜けとそんなこと電話したら後でこってり絞られますね。あと警察の人たちの夕食も考えてあげないとね。本家のツケで寿司でも頼むかね。
Everyone's sensitive reaction to the word sushi. Stomachs were empty after all. Same about the other officers too.
リカ、うちも出前にしますの？そんなお金の余裕はありませんでしたよ。さとこ、みんなに自慢の野菜炒めでも作ってあげたらどうですか？無理ですわよ。こんな大勢になんか作ったことありませんわ。
さとこの野菜炒めか。指さえ入ってなけりゃぜひ食ってみたいな。
レナもさとこちゃんのお料理久しぶりに食べたいかな。
At that point, the phone rang.
もしもし、フルデなのです。
よかった。ご無事のようですね。大石です。岐阜の用事を終わらせましてね。今沖宮に戻っている途中です。途中のガソリンスタンドから電話しています。
それで高野の死体はどうでしたか？
やりましたよ。やっぱりそうでした。岐阜の資料がとんでもないイージーミスをしていました。連中間違いを認めやしない。ガツンと決めてやりましたよ。高野は車ごと行方不明です。富武殺しについて何か事情を知っている可能性が高いと判断し、つい先ほど高野の捜査を開始するよう指示を出したところです。ついにお社様のたたりの尻尾をつかみましたよ。ここから一気に引きずり出しちゃいます。
Oishi sounded so motivated. He finally found the hint he was so desperately wanted. Yes! Yes!
それは土産話がとても楽しみなのです。
これからクマちゃんと一緒にそちらへお伺いしますので、詳しい話を聞かせてください。心当たりでも。
Let's just all huddle up in here. Alright, let's just huddle up, huddle up, huddle up.
僕も全部話す決心がつきましたです。
おやおや、どんなお話が聞けるのでしょうかね。
Oishi, please take me seriously.
多分あと1時間ちょいぐらいでお伺いできると思います。ところで、受話器の向こうが賑やかですね。お友達も来ているのですか？
はい、みんな心配してうちに来てくれましたです。
そうですか。皆さんは本当に素晴らしいな。私も皆さんと一緒にいてくれた方がいいと思います。賑やかなだけで犯罪の抑止効果は大きいものです。では今から向かいます。後ほど。
今の大石さんか？
はい、今から刑事と2人で来るそうです。はあ、この部屋にこんなに大勢なんて初めてだね。何人になるんだろう。
1, 2, 3, 4.
私たち6人に2人来て8人ですの？床が抜けそうで怖いですわね。9人目なのです。
Oh, hi, Hanyu.
羽生、聞いてた？なんだか今回は本当にすごいことになってきた。
今回はいけそうですか？
うん、いけるわ、絶対。
絶対という言葉は
Hanyu, can you please contribute something to the conversation that's not doom posting? I would appreciate it.
羽生はこの状況になってもやっぱり今日
Doomer Hanyu.
死ぬと思う。
Doomer Hanyu.
死んでほしくないと思ってい
Then
ま
go
す
stand
のです。
outside
あん
and
たのス
watch
タンス
as
は分かって
guard,
る。
and if you see
傷
anything
つきたくない
suspicious,
から
come and
信じ
warn
ない。
me.
マイナス思考ならマイナスで当然。ラッキーなら大喜びってわけだ。もうあんたと私の考え方の違いをとやかく言わないわ。あんたは見てなさい、傍観者らしく。
はい、僕は傍観者ですから。でもリカを応援してますですよ。
応援か、ありがとう。でも応援していいの？応援したのに負けると期待を裏切られない？
リカが意地悪を言いますです。
Rather harmonious mood going. However, I feel like Venice is beginning to settle over us. So, Griffin.
腹減りましたね。
We're at an hour 42 of the recording right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Should we split it here? Can you go take a peeky peek? Yes, we did.
Okay, yeah, this is a good spot to stop, yeah.
Okay, so how much do we have left after this then?
One more.
Oh, one more video from her?
It's a long more, but it's one more. Yeah.
Do you want to stop?
It's about 2.5 hours.
Do you want to stop for the night then? Save this for a day, maybe.
Nah, I can finish up tonight.
You can finish up tonight? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be breaking here. You guys see this video next time. I'm excited. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
Have a game all the time, Mil. Peace.